fireproof. Like I said, I'm a trained professional, so do what I say, not what I do. Here we go. So this chimney here, as I go in, watch where I go. I'm gonna go in like this. I'm gonna keep it like that. And as I dump it, I'm gonna roll the bottom of the chimney up, and I'm gonna make sure the chimney doesn't hit one of my screws or my thermometer probe. And I'm just gonna let it all fall in there. We're gonna try to get this on top of that charcoal basket. If some falls out of the basket, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Here we go.
That's the bend and snap.
I went down and I rolled.
It's not the roll. It's not the dump and roll. It's the bend and snap.
It's called the bend and snap. Watch this. So you bend and snap. See? Come on, you try.
Hey, this is your old pal Pitmaster T. Welcome to the Funkatorium, and today we're going to fire this up for its very first time, and I'm going to give you a little tip. For those of you who have been using it, maybe you should take a look at this. I got these tips from Frank Cox, the original designer of the Super 55. So I'm going to go kind of fast through this because I just want to hit the bullet points. If you need to know why something is the way it is, you can either comment and ask me, or you can go to Frank Cox at SmokerBuilder.com for his instructions on how to light your Super 55. So let's get going. So this right here is a firebox or fire grate. What we've got in there, some lump charcoal and some strips of, this is pecan that I have shoved down in there. And so we're gonna burn this from the top down. You do not wanna start this from the bottom up. Okay, ask me why if you need to know, but you just don't do that. We want this thing to burn from the top down. So basically these pieces of wood right here are going to burn like wicks. Now the truth is, underneath there I've got regular old charcoal because we're just seasoning this thing for right now. But lump do get the best results. And then over here, this right here, we are going to light from the bottom. This is a chimney. And I'm going to use the oil soaked paper that I had before, but you know, you can use a myriad of different ways. Some people use a burner to light it. And yeah, in here I've got some cheap charcoal down in there. Actually, it's not cheap, it's B&B. But I took it from my gravity feed leftovers. I always start fires with that. We're gonna go ahead and set this into the Super 55. And make sure that right here, if you can see, right here is my temperature, the stem of my temperature probe. You want to make sure that this area that doesn't have any holes on the bottom, and the holes need to be facing the bottom. This is the heat shield. The screw areas, either this side or this side, is facing right up above that stem. I have, you can put this in, but I prefer that the hexes match the hexes of this. Fold that handle down to protect it. You don't want to leave it up. And the only thing I got to add here is that we've loaded this only 3/4 full, so the coals that we have that we're getting ready to ignite will go on top of that. These are already oil soaked from me seasoning, so that's what we're going to use to light it. All right, we'll come back to that. I'm going to add an extra temperature probe to this. Remember, I showed you how to do this not too long ago. So, this is how this works. Pull this through. Bet you're wondering why I'm doing that. Well, Frank says that this is a small one, so you won't be using one like this. This is for my pit barrel cooker, but when you're using the larger ones, you can't quite, you'll see in a minute, you can't quite get it in there without an interesting move. And what he's wanting to do is, as you begin to tip this thing, you need to bring the butt of it up. So you just don't pour it like this, because it'll go places you don't want it to go. And it kind of reminds me of that Legally Blonde movie, the little bunny dip. Everybody do that. Everybody practice. We're not quite ready on these coals, but we're getting there. What we want to see is the top. just begin to kind of turn a little white. Almost there. Here we go. Get it to the edge. Whoops. Oh, great. Anything goes over the top, it's no big deal. But this definitely needs to come over. Now it's time to shut her down. Gonna open up this whole way. This one's closed. This one, I'm going to open up. Finger width. Plug this into my Fireboard. True temperature at the grate is 253. I had this hanging around and I like it, but I think that there's something wrong with it. It does have an adjustment on it, so I may have to work with that at a later time. But those two probes are right next to each other. We'll see what time tells, but that's the real temperature on the grate, and it's less than an inch away from the stem of this. Smoking away. Well, now here's something I couldn't do on my old UDS. This is wrong, so this gauge is going to have to be worked on. Man, it's hotter up here than it is down there. Let's take a look inside. Yeah. This is fucking amazing. This is my Fireboard data, and we're burning pretty steady at a 260. That little dip there is when I opened the lid just now. So we're going to bring this up in 2 increments to get it up to 300. But it's burning pretty steady. So I need this to get to 300. And there's where we are. We could go full open, but whenever you're changing temperatures on something like this, you want to go in measurements of small increments. We're in the 260 range. I am going to open this up about that much more, see what the effect is. So we're at about 312, and these little notes are when I opened a little bit more, and then full throttle. So full throttle is just above 300 at this ambient temperature, so I'm going to notch it down. $311, almost $312. What we got on here? So interesting. It gets a little closer to the temperature the hotter it gets. And we are going to turn, this thing sticks a little bit, turn it down just a little bit, see what that does to it. Now remember, you're not just turning it down this much. Wow, I can feel the draft. You're turning it down twice as much because there's 2 holes. So technically there are 4 holes in this thing. Okay.